All right, so you're here because you want to get a handle on complex stuff quickly, right? Really dive in and
Yes.
understand it without getting bogged down in all the technical jargon. We get it. You want the key takeaways, the meat of the matter. And today, well, today we're tackling something pretty huge. Agentic AI. This is something that has the potential to completely transform the world of banking, financial services, insurance, we're talking BFSI, the whole shebang, and of course, all the tech that makes it all tick.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. What's really fascinating about this whole agentic AI thing is that it goes way beyond what we typically think of when we hear artificial intelligence, right? I mean, we're used to AI that analyzes data, gives us predictions, helps us see patterns, insights, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But agentic AI, this is a whole different ballgame. It's not just about understanding the game. It's about playing the game. It's AI that can actually make decisions and take actions on its own to achieve specific goals.
Exactly. It's not just sitting on the sidelines analyzing, it's an active player making moves. These agentic AI systems, they can sense what's going on around them, figure out what it all means, and then here's the kicker, they can act independently to reach their goals. And we're talking minimal human intervention here. Like
Yeah.
imagine an AI trading agent, right? It doesn't just say, "Hey, the market might shift." It says, "Hold my beer," and then adjusts its entire investment strategy and executes trades all in real time. It's like that World Economic Forum article we both read, how agentic AI will transform financial services. That level of autonomy, that's what we're dealing with here.
And, this isn't some sci-fi fantasy either. It's happening now. The material you sent over, it lays out a really concrete roadmap for building a whole ecosystem around this agentic AI infrastructure, specifically for BFSI. It's like they're setting the stage for a real marketplace of these super intelligent agents.
And that's what we're going to unpack today. That's our mission for this deep dive, to really get into the nuts and bolts of this framework and roadmap. We want to figure out how this tech can revolutionize financial services, but also how do we do it right? How do we make sure it's scalable, secure, and, plays nice with all the regulations that govern the financial world? So where do we even start with something like this? I mean, building a whole ecosystem from scratch.
Well, think of it like building a house or, well, any complex system, really. You need a solid foundation.
Yeah.
And for this agentic AI ecosystem in BFSI, we're talking about a few core pillars. You need the tech, of course, the backbone that makes it all work. Then you need the brains, the centers of expertise, and then the actual applications, the stuff that delivers value. And of course, you need all the players, the stakeholders, and can't forget this, the rules, the guidelines, the governance that keeps everything running smoothly and responsibly.
Makes sense, yeah. So first things first, we need the agentic AI infrastructure. That's the tech, the nuts and bolts that allow these AI agents to exist in the first place. It's what lets us build them, deploy them, and importantly, scale them up to meet the huge demands of the financial industry.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because the sources you shared, they highlight this really cool mix of different approaches to building this infrastructure. You've got open source tools, you've got proprietary solutions, and then, of course, you've got the massive power of cloud platforms.
Let's start with open source. That's where things get really interesting, right? It's not just about having access to the code, it's about BFSI firms coming together to build a kind of shared brain trust for AI. It helps them avoid getting locked into one vendor and lets them innovate at their own pace. Take Solo.io's Cagent project, that's a great example. It's like they've created these Lego blocks for building AI brains in the cloud. It makes it so much easier for different financial institutions to put together intelligent agents without having to reinvent the wheel every time.
Right. And these open source tools, they often come with these standardized ways for the agents to talk to each other, like that model context protocol they mentioned. That's a good example. But then on the other hand, you've got your proprietary solutions. These are the platforms you buy off the shelf, often designed with the specific needs of large enterprises in mind. Things like rock-solid security, dedicated support, guaranteed performance. That's essential in finance, right?
Absolutely. You can't cut corners with that stuff. And there are some big players stepping up here. NTT Data, for example, they've launched these agentic AI services built on Microsoft Azure, and they're specifically targeting sectors like banking. And even Salesforce, they're getting in on the action with their Agent Force offering. The idea is to provide these ready-made agent capabilities and even industry-specific templates to help companies get up and running quickly.
Yeah, speed is key. And of course, we can't talk about this stuff without mentioning the cloud. The sheer scale and flexibility of platforms like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, they're essential for handling the heavy lifting of agentic AI in BFSI. We're talking processing mountains of data for fraud detection, managing millions of customer interactions, all in real time. That takes serious computing power.
No doubt. But there's a catch, right? BFSI deals with some of the most sensitive data out there, and they need to make decisions fast. That's where the idea of a hybrid cloud approach becomes really important.
That's right. You might keep the really sensitive stuff, like core banking functions, on private servers or even on premises, while using the public cloud for less sensitive tasks, like training AI models on anonymized data. It's about finding the right balance.
Yeah, finding that sweet spot. And technologies like Kubernetes for containerization and well-defined APIs, those become crucial for making sure all these different pieces can communicate securely and efficiently. But let's not forget, all of this, it runs on data.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't have intelligent agents without data. It's like trying to run a car without fuel. And BFSI, they're sitting on a gold mine of data transaction histories, customer profiles, market data. That's the fuel that powers these AI agents.
But it's not just about having the data, right? It's about managing it, making sure it's high quality, and that it's used responsibly. We need those enterprise data lakes and warehouses with strong governance in place. We need to be thinking about privacy and access control from the very beginning.
Exactly. And then there's MLOps, machine learning operations. That's a whole other beast. In BFSI, MLOps isn't just about keeping the AI running. It's about proving to regulators that it's running correctly. It's about managing the entire life cycle of these AI models and agents, tracking versions, training them on new data, monitoring their performance.
And that's not easy. And remember, the regulatory environment in BFSI is incredibly strict. So this infrastructure needs to be able to log every single decision an AI agent makes, creating these detailed audit trails for compliance purposes.
And if we're talking about real-time applications like fraud detection or high-frequency trading, you need a streaming data backbone like Apache Kafka. That's what lets you analyze and act on data as it comes in without any delays.
So we've got the tech, the infrastructure, but we need the people, the brains behind the operation. That's where these competence centers and innovation hubs come in.
Think of them as the nerve centers for agentic AI and BFSI. These are the research labs, the training grounds, the collaborative spaces where knowledge and skills are cultivated. You can have internal centers of excellence within companies, or you can have collaborative R&D labs across the entire industry, or even dedicated innovation hubs.
We're already seeing some great examples of this. JP Morgan, they've got their Explainable AI Center of Excellence. That's a prime example. They're focused on making sure AI decisions are transparent and fair, and they help different parts of the business integrate AI solutions effectively. And it's fascinating to see how these are evolving. Like KeyBank, they've set up a generative AI co-E recently, and it wouldn't be surprising to see them expand that to include agentic AI as the technology matures.
Yeah, the natural progression. And then you've got collaboration on a larger scale with these joint industry R&D hubs. Imagine a place where the big banks, the insurance companies, the AI startups, they all come together with researchers and even government folks to tackle common challenges and drive innovation. We've already got models for this, like the Cambridge Center for Alternative Finance.
Absolutely. Collaboration is key. And of course, we need to make sure we've got the talent to build and manage all of this. That's where training and talent development centers come in. It's not just about training AI engineers, it's about upskilling the entire workforce in BFSI so they can understand and work alongside these AI agents.
Right. Everyone needs to be on board. We'll need partnerships with universities, professional certifications, maybe even specialized institutes like an AI for Financial Services Academy or something. It's interesting to see how countries like India are positioning themselves as leaders in this space, leveraging their strong IT talent pool. There's a lot of potential there.
And then, to really push innovation and manage risk effectively, we need these innovation sandboxes and labs. It's where companies can test out their new AI-powered services in a controlled environment with a bit more flexibility from regulators.
It's like a playground for AI, but with guardrails, right?
Yeah.
We're already seeing regulators looking at implementing these AI sandboxes, specifically for financial services, often working closely with existing fintech hubs. It's a way to learn by doing and get valuable feedback to shape future regulations.
So we've laid the groundwork, infrastructure, expertise, a space for innovation. Now, where does this technology actually make a difference? What problems can it solve? That brings us to data applications and use cases. This is where the rubber meets the road, where we see agentic AI actually delivering value.
This is where it gets real, yeah.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about cool tech anymore. This is about using AI agents to do things that were previously impossible, to create efficiencies and improve customer experiences in a way that's never been done before.
Take customer intelligence and personalized services, for example. Imagine an AI agent that acts as your personal financial advisor, but one that's available 24/7, understands your every financial quirk, and can offer tailored advice in real time. This is about dynamic financial coaching, anticipating needs before you even know you have them. And banks are already experimenting with this. BNP Paribas is working with Mistral, BBVA is working with ChatGPT. They're all trying to take customer service to a whole new level.
And then there's fraud detection and security. I mean, that's a huge one. Right now, most systems just flag suspicious activity for humans to investigate. But with agentic AI, you can take it a step further. You can have an AI agent that investigates and even responds to threats in real time.
That's right. It could freeze a suspicious account or block a risky transaction before any damage is done. And these agents, they can learn and adapt to new fraud tactics as they emerge. We're even seeing applications in anti-money laundering and compliance, using things like retrieval augmented generation to apply complex regulations on the fly. That's a game changer.
Absolutely. And it can drastically reduce those annoying false positives in AML monitoring that waste so much time and resources. But then you've got autonomous operations and process automation. This is about streamlining all those repetitive back-office tasks that are so common in finance.
Think about loan processing, insurance claims, all those things that involve a lot of data and a lot of rules. You could have an AI agent that handles the entire process, making decisions at each stage and only escalating the really complex cases to humans. It's about efficiency and accuracy.
Right, and companies like Microsoft, they're already working on frameworks like AutoGen, which uses these specialized AI agents to work together on complex tasks like opening a new account. It's all about making things faster, smoother, and less prone to human error.
And then, of course, there's intelligent decision making at the highest levels. AI agents can monitor the markets and execute trades with lightning speed and precision. They can manage risk proactively, adjusting exposures based on what's happening in the world. They can improve the accuracy of things like insurance underwriting and credit scoring.
It's about augmenting human expertise, giving them the tools to make better decisions faster. And then we can't forget about customer service. This is where we've seen the biggest evolution, from basic chatbots to AI agents that can actually do things for you.
Right, like blocking a lost credit card, optimizing your investments, or even adjusting your insurance coverage. It's about 247 service, faster resolution, and a much lower workload for human staff.
So we've talked about the tech, the use cases, the potential benefits, but for this whole ecosystem to truly take off, we need to understand the roles of all the different players. It's a team effort.
Absolutely. We've got the startups and fintech innovators, the ones pushing the boundaries and coming up with new solutions. They're vital because they bring fresh ideas and a willingness to take risks. And then you have the larger enterprises, both the established BFSI firms and the technology service providers that support them.
The BFSI firms, they're the ones who will ultimately benefit from all of this. They'll see the efficiency gains, the new revenue streams, the improved customer experiences, and they'll also play a crucial role in governance and oversight.
And then you've got the tech giants, the Accentures, the TCSs, the Wipros of the world. They're the ones who take the research and turn it into real-world products and solutions. They're the integrators, the ones who make it all work together.
And let's not forget about academia and research institutions. They're the ones pushing the boundaries of knowledge, developing new algorithms, and ensuring that these systems are explainable and trustworthy. They're also the ones training the next generation of AI experts.
And then, of course, we have the government and regulatory bodies. They're the ones who set the rules of the game, making sure everything is done safely and responsibly. They also play a crucial role in fostering innovation and creating a supportive environment for this technology to flourish.
And given how sensitive the financial industry is, we need strong governance and compliance mechanisms in place. We need to make sure these AI agents operate transparently, accountably, and in line with all the regulations.
We're already seeing progress on that front. There are AI governance frameworks being developed specifically for financial services, like the draft framework from Finos. These frameworks are all about identifying and mitigating the risks associated with AI systems.
And it's not just about reacting to risks, it's about designing systems with compliance in mind from the start. This is the idea of compliance by design. You need to build in privacy protections, implement robust model risk management practices, create audit trails. All of that needs to be baked in from day one.
And we can't forget about human oversight. It's not about letting the AI run wild. Humans need to set the goals, review the outcomes, and have the ability to intervene if necessary. AI should augment human judgment, not replace human accountability.
Right, it's about humans and AI working together. And we also need to make sure we're monitoring, auditing, and controlling these systems. That means tracking performance, conducting regular audits, and maybe even having specialized third-party AI audit services. There are technologies like NVIDIA's AI software guardrails that can help with this too.
And of course, we need to be talking to the regulators, making sure we're aligned with the latest rules and guidelines. The landscape is constantly evolving, so we need to be agile and adaptable.
So how do we get from where we are today to this fully realized agentic AI ecosystem? The sources you shared, they actually laid out a pretty clear roadmap, breaking it down into three phases.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. In the short term, next couple of years, it's all about laying the groundwork, building the foundation, running some early pilot projects. We might see companies setting up internal AI agent labs to experiment and learn. We'll see pilot projects in areas like fraud detection and IT support, where the impact is high and the risks are relatively low. And there will be a big focus on building expertise through training programs and partnerships.
And on the tech side, companies will be launching their initial agentic AI offerings,
Huh.
trying to secure those early adopters and get some real-world experience.
Then, in the midterm, let's say 3 to 5 years out, the focus shifts to scaling up and expanding those successful pilots. We'll see agentic AI being applied to more complex use cases like customer onboarding and credit underwriting. The infrastructure will mature, and we'll start seeing more sophisticated, continuous learning frameworks for the AI agents.
And those competence and innovation hubs we talked about, they'll play a bigger role with more collaboration and knowledge sharing across the industry. And we'll see more strategic partnerships, maybe even some public-private initiatives to really accelerate development.
And finally, in the long term, 5 years and beyond, we're talking about a fully mature and integrated ecosystem. Agentic AI will become a standard part of how financial institutions operate. We'll see new business models emerge, like AI as a service for regulators. We'll probably see industry-wide standards for interoperability and data exchange. And governance frameworks will mature, maybe even incorporating some elements of self-regulation.
And all of this, it's going to require some key enablers to really take off. We need supportive regulations, open collaboration, strong infrastructure and data management practices, a talented and adaptable workforce, strategic investment, and most importantly, we need to build trust in these systems.
And we can't be naive about the risks. There are technical challenges, ethical considerations, security concerns, potential resistance to change, the risk of systemic issues, and the challenge of maintaining public trust. We need to be aware of all of these and have plans in place to address them.
And to measure our progress, we need clear KPIs, key performance indicators. We need to track things like adoption rates, efficiency gains, improvements in accuracy and risk management, the impact on customer experience, the growth of the ecosystem, the development of talent, the return on investment, and of course, the effectiveness of our governance and compliance mechanisms.
So that's the big picture. We've covered a lot of ground today, but hopefully you've got a good understanding of what agentic AI is, what it can do for the financial industry, and what it will take to build a successful ecosystem around it.
It's an exciting time to be in this space. The potential is enormous, but it's going to require careful planning, collaboration, and a commitment to doing things the right way.
And now for a final thought. As you consider all the possibilities and challenges we've discussed today, what are the biggest opportunities and the most pressing concerns you see on the horizon? What questions does this raise for you about the future of finance and technology? We encourage you to keep exploring these topics, keep asking those tough questions, and stay curious. That's all for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.